everybody. It's that time again, right, Jim?
It certainly is. What time is it, by the way?
It's time for the Jim and Peter Show.
Oh, okay. I thought we had to get groceries.
No,
okay.
no. It's time to do the laundry.
That, too.
There's a lot of that going on.
As you know, single dads.
I do. We're just single parents, period. It's a pain in the butt.
Thank God no one's looking at us right now.
That's right. Yeah, you need to, well, never mind.
We could use a little air.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, it's going your direction.
How you doing?
I'm good. This has been tough. I've had some tax issues and, standard stuff. And but as we'll go down the road,
taxing.
It's very taxing, yes. But I did have one of the greatest days I've had in probably 2.5 years with my daughter.
That's a hell of a statement, but
yeah.
okay.
It was
good.
It was the greatest day ever. We can talk about that
good.
down the road. But by the way, happy Father's Day coming.
Thank you.
You're not going to be here in California.
I will not. I will be on assignment.
Yeah. You go to the Philippines, right?
On assignment.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone, as you know, and doing stuff from the Gulf Coast. And by the time you're hearing this, I'm sure I'm already basking in all that drudgery. It's hard work, It really is.
I'm in pain for you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. But you get to see your dad, too. Your dad is still 90?
I normally spend, he's going to be 90 in August. I normally spend, I get there usually by Father's Day. At least these past few years, we've managed to get there. But Anna has a dance recital, which pushed it forward. So now we're going to be a little bit later. But we will be staying there.
She loves going down there with you, though.
She does, believe me. It's hard not to. I mean, we live in a pretty great place down there, or grew up in a great place, and I'm lucky to have all those people that know and love her. So we're good.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah,
and my mother's still alive too, so that's a great thing for now. And we're going to go and believe me, I'll be posting from the Jim and Peter Show in Florida as always.
Oh, I'm excited.
Again, and I want to remind everybody and thank everybody for liking and sharing the Jim and Peter Show. I'm watching it grow and grow. I don't know what you're doing over on that end, but
what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I just, because I'm, all about watching and seeing who's coming from where, and man, we're actually in 12. We're in 12 different countries right now, believe it or not.
Well, as we've said before, if you would ever imagine that we would be having our own show on iTunes, and we would have thousands of people actually wanting to listen to us, which is still amazing to me. What?
But
they obviously drink.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Well, that's it. We're trying to keep that to a minimum, because that's the problem. We're drinking.
It certainly was. But those, and we're getting all these great letters and things like that, and pretty soon, maybe we're going to start doing some stuff out in the field.
We are. That's coming when I get, there's a lot of things coming down the pipe. That's why the YouTubes, there's so many different facets that we're, delivering this show from. I can't keep up, and it's growing. But so far, thank all the YouTubers, the Facebookers, I think is a big deal, because I'm heavy on Facebook, because I love, hanging
I know
out.
You do.
Yes, I do.
And I work a lot more on YouTube.
Yeah, so, and the iTunes and all of that stuff. And am I missing something? No, for now, that's good. Yeah. I want to thank all those people who are liking, sharing. I'm getting a lot of people that are just supporting us.
Keep them coming.
And don't forget to go like the official page, because they're liking the co-host pages and all that kind of stuff. But it's that official page, that they need to grow, because it'll keep them in tune a lot more, because that's where everything is, jetting from and coming.
I was really surprised. There's not that many people that have a divorce show. There's a few.
Amen.
Then
we'd be out of a job.
I know, what a great idea that was.
We're not that good.
There's 100 people doing them right now.
Good.
But yeah, so we've gotten to where we've gotten.
Yeah, wherever the hell that is.
That's achievement.
We know we're right here. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. But it is Father's Day, and
saluting fathers.
Well, great, because if you don't mind, every time I have Father's Day, it gets to me a little bit, because my dad passed away in 2000. Yeah. And he was a very interesting guy. He was in the Marines for 26 years. And my grandfather and my grandmother had 15 kids. They had, I swear to God, in Pueblo, Colorado.
What the hell is that one's name?
I don't even think they'd have a big enough house in Pueblo for 15 kids.
Holy crap.
11 boys and 4 girls.
I don't know how the hell you do something like that.
Is that physically possible? Yeah, no, it was rough, and I never met my grandfather. He passed away before I ever got a chance to do that.
Probably tired.
Yeah. Or maybe he's just trying to find a new option. But you know, he was everything that I knew of. He wasn't a very good guy. He would beat him real hard, and
those were different days.
They sure were. And at that point, my dad never went to school because he had to be out there in the snow, you know, tossing papers. He worked in a shoe repair store. You had to go out and work.
Yeah, those were different
but
days.
he was freaking 7. He was 8.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Get your effing out there and do it. You know,
you had to.
And that bleeds over to the next parent. You know, a little bit.
Well,
you can't. You know, you want to.
Hopefully not, but yes, it does happen a lot.
To some point,
it happens a
does.
lot. It's a gift that keeps on giving, like we talked about with what was her name with the you remember? Oh my God,
Mary.
I know so many episodes. That's the problem. It's when we talked about how the product of bad parenting comes in and it just keeps on giving from.
Yeah.
You know,
well, Ty can find that one for us.
Yeah, whatever. You guys know it was called. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, she was interesting, but yeah, I always thought about it because my dad at times would tell me about his history and what he'd gone through and
uphill in the snow both ways, backwards with no shoes. Yeah. That's all the parents back then.
It was Pueblo. It was a very small place in Colorado. And you know, it was just they all lived in it's what you always hear about, but actually is true. We did get a chance to see the house, and it broke my soul. I mean, because my dad was really rough on me a lot, but at the same time, I look and see what he's gone through. It made me realize some of the things that are coming over. It doesn't mean that gives it.
In their minds, they're doing the best thing that they think they should be doing. I mean, even sometimes when you don't necessarily do the best thing. But
yeah, there's a lot of anger in there too, because that anger it stays inside you. In fact, every single of my uncles, every single 11 of them, every single one, as soon as they could, they jumped right into the military.
What made them to get away?
You get the hell out of there. Yeah.
I was just getting ready to ask you, when did your dad go into the military? Because I want to talk to you about something real quick on the military. But how old was he when he went in?
He went in probably at 16, 17, whatever was proper at the time. I mean, they all wanted to get in, every single one of them. And, you know, they were all big guys. My dad wasn't really big, but if you ever saw his hands were like a bowling ball.
Meat paws.
Yeah, they are. They're just huge. And, you know, he was, and he...
They named a donut after him, Bear Claws.
Bear Claws. Yeah. But, you know, you know, and they were all those kind of guys. They're military guys. That means that all of our being our kids... we had to fight and we had to, you know, do the thing. And it's funny because there was a show that you probably remember called Kung Fu. Oh, my dad loved that damn song. Oh, love that song. Is that how it was? I don't think that's correct, but but he loved that show.
Go get my flute.
And my Uncle Bob had a nice house with a basement, and when we
was it all fixed up with a beanbag chair?
See, let me explain something to you. I never saw my dad until I was 7 years old, because he was with me for 3 years, and at the time, I think it was I had just becoming was it 3? Yeah, I was 3 years old, and he wanted to be a Marine forever, and my mom did not want to do. And my dad pitched it. You know, he said, "Don't worry, it's my time now, and I'll be going in and starting a shoe repair store or something. We'll never have to worry about that ever." And he went up to whoever, I guess you talked to, the colonel or whatever, and he wanted to go again. He went another 4 years, and he didn't tell her that.
He forgot?
No.
He's just like, I'm going to the store.
He's just
be right back.
Yeah, he just basically lied, flat ass lied. And
man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Well, he loved it, and she hated it. I mean, it really. And my mom brought her grandfather, my granddaughter, her mom with her. She wasn't very happy either. So it was a problem, and so there was a big argue about it. And my mom went to wherever they were at that time. I think they were in Palms, I can't remember exactly, but it was somewhere in California. And we were told, hey, we're going back to Colorado. None of this is going to happen. And when she found out, she walked right onto the base, went right to the colonel, which you're never supposed to do, and said, did my husband sign 4 more years in the Marines? And he was just, and the colonel was furious. You just don't do that kind of thing, right? And when he found out my dad, he just clobbered him. It was just a disaster. I mean, it was a complete disaster. And from that point on...
Wait a minute, there was a disaster somewhere in your life.
Well, it was a disaster for everyone.
What do you mean by clobbered him?
Well, you can't, you're not supposed to ever get involved in the Marine Corps way. You know what I mean? You don't, the wife never is supposed to talk.
It was
but
a
my mom
different
just
time.
was stunned. She knew it. She goes, you lying son of a, and she walked right up there, and who really got killed was my dad.
Yeah.
Because you didn't tell your wife that you're going another 4 years. You didn't tell
that's
them that.
kind of weird.
It was really tough, and he was, at that time, he was a sergeant, and they kicked him back to I don't know what he was, knocked him down. It was a disaster, and everybody, and I wasn't there. I was 3 years old. The only thing my dad ever told me about me being when I was 3 years old was that he'd tickle me and I'd pee up in the air.
I think
that's all he ever told me.
I think you still do that, don't you?
On occasion. But anyway, what happened is that my mom was furious, and her mom was there, and we're going back to Colorado, and we went back, and my dad said, screw it, and that was our divorce right then. And I didn't know him, never met him, and then when I was 7, all of a sudden, my mom sat down with me and said, I think it'd be good for your dad to come by and see him. And, when you're kids and you have one person that's taking care of you and doing everything for you, and another person that just bailed, is how you feel about it. I don't think I was really that keen about it.
This isn't sounding much like a salute to Father's Day.
Yeah, and I found right, and I found out later that basically what my mom was doing was because she got some kind of therapist or something that said you really need a man in the house because I'm
Well, we believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but and he came in and he brought me a little radio about this big, and I turned it on, and I think Tom Jones was on or something, and my dad, and then he started singing.
That's not unusual.
And clever, yeah, Pussycat.
What's new? Dating.
Oh, I hope there's some older people
Look it up,
that
people.
understand this.
Well, actually, our demographic is right.
Ty's shaking her head like,
even
what the
he
hell
knows.
is he talking
Well,
about?
believe it or not, the ones that we're talking to that are going through this crap are probably our age.
That's right.
Again, remember, it takes this old to get this screwed
I
up.
thought at the time, because he was playing a Tom Jones song, and then my dad was singing it in the other room, and he sounded just like him. And I said, my dad is Tom Jones. I thought he's on TV. I've never seen.
Maybe that's why he wasn't around. He was on the road.
Right, exactly.
Yes, touring's hell.
But he came in. He was always able to get a good job for himself. He was so creative, and he could literally make a house, and he could, what they call the pitches up on the roof. He could see it and not have to even use a level or any of that type of stuff. And he was tremendously gifted with that kind of stuff. And he loved the Marines. And he finally got out, I guess, after that 4 years was done. And he was a staff sergeant at that time, which he loved because he could really bust your ass, basically. And at that point, as we grew up a little bit, it felt like it was a family. I would hear the angry and the throwing stuff and all that kind of stuff every once in a while. But I just realized that we're going to have an actual family here. It's kind of great. The only problem with my dad was that he was one. There was a movie called I should have remembered what the name of this thing. It was called The Great Santini. Yes, that movie is my life, because when you're in the Marine Corps, at least most of them, I can't say for everyone, but literally I had to, if we went out to go bowling, if I made a good shot, well, that was terrible because the other one was terrible. It just beat me mentally, just constantly, And this is a good thing for Father's Day, isn't it?
I'm starting. I'm getting ready to go up and get a beer right now.
Yeah, I don't blame
this
you.
is
Well, I'm getting to the point, believe it or not,
really
is that at the time when all that stuff meant, and my mom was very soft with me and got angry. That's what they would fight a lot about. Jimmy this, Jimmy that, and everything. He's got to be a man. And I hated him. I really hated him. And then he left me. He left us when I was 16 years old. I came home one day. I got a job after in high school. But he's sitting on a motorcycle with his uncles, and they're on their motorcycles. And like, Dad, where are you going? Well, it's time for me to go, son. He goes, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, no, I don't. Where are you? And he just left.
Him and James Dean.
Yeah, never saw him again. And
never saw him again.
Yeah, I never saw. And then I saw him at that particular time. Everything went through the music situation and everything, and we were doing a show in Arizona. In where were we? A small town there. Arizona, yeah, one of my favorite places. I love you, Arizona people.
We got a lot of Arizona people, by the way.
Well, I know, and God bless you. But
it's hot.
I just had bad luck in Arizona.
All right, stay out of Arizona.
But anyway,
I'll go visit.
We were playing. And we were opening up for a band called Kuss. I don't know. You probably know who the Kuss is. He has no idea who that is.
It's okay.
But anyway, so we were on the road, and we've been doing this, for a while. And we're sitting down, getting ready to go. And this buddy Roger comes in. He goes, "Hey, there's this guy, and he's in the hallway, and he's not leaving. He says he knows you." And I said, "Well, who is he?" He goes, "I don't know." He just says, just tell him that Jim will know who it is. And I said, I don't know. Is it a fan or whatever or what? No, he's right out there, and you can't go in there, unless we let you come in, right? So I said, okay, I'll take a look. And I go out in the hallway, and I see down the road, and he looked like he looked when he was 32 years old. He just looked like bulk and I knew right away. Man, that's
stress-free life.
That's my dad. That's my dad. And he came in and we let him, he watched the show and stuff, and we went and had beers and hung up, and he gave me a truck. He gave me a truck in Phoenix. He said, "I haven't been able to help a lot for you, but this is a great Chevy truck, and I'm going to give it to you." And I'm like, "Well, that's cool, Dad. I appreciate that. But we're going to be going to Wyoming next."
This sounds like the legend of Ricky Bobby.
Right? That's right.
Holy moly.
Anyway, I should
Ricky Bobby.
I should be shut.
Ricky Bobby, I gotta go, son.
Baby Jesus.
I gotta go.
Oh, baby Jesus. but I said, "I'm going to Wyoming next, and everything." He goes, "Well, I'm going to leave it here in Arizona, and you come by, and you just take it and drive it to California."
No problem.
And I did, because it was a free car. It was like, okay. And from that part on, and my mom that's when my dad started getting emphysema. And you wouldn't know it, but his lungs were just, he was supposed to die 12 years before he actually did. He was a strong man. I mean, he really was. So he came in and he stayed with my mom for a while down in Long Beach. And at that time, I would drive back and forth and, have dinner and stuff. And I started to realize who he really was. He had stopped drinking. He had gotten some therapy. I don't know what he had, if it was who helped him, but someone really helped him. And all that anger kind of soaked down and everything. And he became the dad that I always wanted. He was great. I mean, he was just a fantastic guy. And he would tell me these stories, like my grandfather, my dad's dad, who was a real mean guy. He was going to take him. He was going to beat him to death. They say that my grandfather was mad at my dad, who when he was like 10 or 11 or something, didn't sell enough papers or something, and he took his belt out and he swung it and he knocked his eye out of the socket, supposedly. You don't believe these kind of things, but they're real, in this. And Jack was the big guy, uncle, or my dad's brother. We idolized him. He was a SEAL, and he was I've seen the pictures, the whole thing. My mom even kind of had a really hot deal with, well, if I don't get the SEAL, I'll get the Marine, I guess, kind of deal. But they say that at one time he was on furlough, and he came to to see the kids and everything, and they had dinner, and the old man started giving him a hard time, and they had buildings that were made of cinder blocks, and he came up, he said, "You're not going to touch these kids one more effing time, and it's not going to happen. If you do this again, and he knocked a cinder block right out of the wall. Everybody talked about
that wasn't on Ricky Bobby, so okay.
No,
okay.
yeah, right.
Okay.
No. But that was like, that's how it was. And so that whole group, that's part of my family. I have a lot of love for them. I wish I'd have known my dad in that way a long time, but I was proud of the fact that he could have just gone off and never come back. He somehow found me, of all times. He found me in Arizona, and we became like buddies. I mean, it was really, really great.
Okay. So you're saying eventually he came around and became a father that like he should have been.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah.
Right.
And how he should have. Yes.
But then again, this is like the so many fathers, and I want to salute the good ones here, but
there's tons of
there's tons of both. The ones that are suffering to be fathers like us, and you became a product of like, I'm not going to be like that.
Right.
But even though he's your father and you love him, this is what we bitch about: is that okay? They finally came around, but where were you then? Wouldn't you have rather had him your father the whole damn time?
Sure, that's why I'm ramble about.
Okay,
this,
and obviously it's something that you take with you. You never forget it.
But the stuff that he did give me was fantastic for me. Like I have so much love of the Marines because I've met so many of these guys, and they're heroes, and if you could have just taken out the part about I have to be just like you when I'm 10, how about if till I'm 18?
Times
or
are changing. I mean, we're not those guys. I can easily tell you. I mean, I consider myself not a sensitive. I consider myself a sensitive guy, but not a weak guy. Like I don't like what I'm about to tell you in a little while. I mean, I cry for other people, and I'm not ashamed of it one bit. But don't mess with me. Because there's a breaking point to where my sensitivity is not weakness, and you have to discern the difference between the two.
Are you going to hit me?
No.
Okay, good.
This is what pisses me off, because I have a boss, and one time he looked at me, because I just sit and get yelled at, because I'm in a business that I really don't belong in. But I'm doing it because I have to do it because of the situation that we're in. And I sit there, and he looks at me, and he's one of those kind of guys. He just barrels into you, and he says nothing personal, but I take it personally. I just do. And he looked at me one time and he says, you're a sensitive guy. I know you're a sensitive guy. And I just really wanted to go off. But I know if I go off, it's going to go beyond the stand up and just tell you, no, you're wrong. I get upset and get really aggravated, which leads to violence, which I'm not that kind of a guy. But there's a limit to my thing. So we are the guys who are not, we didn't take off like I could have, like, honey, I got to go back on the road and I got to go, I'm a rebel. But I stayed home. And like all these guys, these fathers who do what they have to do to be with their daughters and their sons while they're children, right. When your father came back, sure, but you were how old? Already grown. You're an adult, right?
I'm on my way, yeah.
Yeah, and and this is what happens with my exes. He's around with with my step kids. He's around and it's their dad, and it's all great now because it's easy to take care of them because you don't have to take care of them. You just hang around them now, And
yeah, but did you get a truck?
No, I didn't get a truck. Okay, well, I mean, you're lucky you got a truck out of the whole deal, But the thing is, it's like Father's Day Father's Day. I'm saluting these guys who are struggling to be fathers.
That's
and
right.
Giving up and changing everything. And
you're looking at both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need no stinking mirror.
Yeah, I don't want to pat my back, but I have given everything that
We're struggling every single day. We're on the friggin' phone. It's like just this morning, you getting here.
Yeah.
How is that working?
Yeah.
I'm getting phone calls in the morning. People, Jim's having issues. You know what I mean? It never
I'm
stops.
not having issues.
No, you don't have. He's having issues with his personal situation on being able to parent to make the Jim and Peter show because there's no communication and things like that.
Whether you're a single parent, whether
it's
you're
hard.
a man or a woman,
That's
it's
right.
the same thing. You have to have everything structured, and
Yes.
if one little thing falls out, damn, here we go.
And some are luckier
And yet
than others.
we still got. Here's the example. We got here today because we almost didn't.
Yeah, we almost didn't, and this happens a lot.
Oh, all the time because everything doesn't work just there's another topic we're going to talk about summer and stuff, but things always the prices are getting higher, everything like that, and you got to find a way. You just have to. You have to just
It's
Find
just,
a way.
listen,
period.
I had a girl just recently talk to us
One
on
time?
Facebook. One time, yeah. I've known this woman. She's on our Facebook. She's a fan. And of all the people, I had posted something about single parenting, what a bitch it is. And she wrote back and she said, Peter, she says, you're not a single parent unless her mother is not co-parenting. It's like, what the hell? And I was shocked because I've known this woman a long time, and she happens to be a fan. And I go, what are you talking about? Okay, so she has a mother that parents, but when our children are with us and we have to go to work and it's our time, our week, our weekend or whatever, who else is parenting? I'm single and I'm a parent. I'm not married. There's no, you're not, like, you got to go someplace and, honey, the kids are with you right now. I'll be back in 2 hours. There's none of that.
Right.
You got to figure out right now whether you're going with Jake. How does it, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But we are single parents.
I was starting to think maybe we should marry each other.
Okay. No. No, that is definitely.
You had a little time of thinking there.
Yeah. No, actually, I was trying to come up with something to just kick you in the head.
See, laughter gets you through it.
Okay, one thing I want to touch on, because this was, and just happened with the current events. We are saluting the fathers that are making the ultimate sacrifices, not coming in when it's convenient. Now, Jim told his story because he still loves and respects his father. That's probably 99% of them, no matter how much they do. Yeah. They're always going to...
You want your dad to like you.
And that's... Yeah. But the one thing I want to talk about real quick, being that we're heavy pro-military. I grew up a majority of my life in Pensacola, Florida. They had a recent event with the Blue Angels. We're going to Florida to spend time, and part of my trip is going to be so Anna can participate in watching a Blue Angel show over Pensacola Beach. It's awesome. We're laying in knee-deep water. They're doing their thing, the best of the best. You don't realize how dangerous that job is. Unfortunately, they had a tragic crash this past week, and they lost one of their pilots, Captain Jeff Kuss, 32 years old. Stayed in that jet. They were practicing over Nashville. You don't realize how dangerous of a job that they do flying that close to each other. But whatever the malfunction was, but he stayed in that jet in order to let that jet crash away from a residential area. And he ended up giving his own life for that. The reason I talk about this is because, number one, we're very pro-military. The Blue Angels, in my eyes, are the best of the best.
Absolutely.
Again, growing up in that town, I wear a watch. That's a Blue Angels watch, and I don't wear watches, but I just couldn't help it. That's my way. When they come home on their weekend trips, they buzz Pensacola, and everybody from the Facebooks, you think it's the first time you're seeing them again. It just never gets old.
Right.
So
it's amazing.
The biggest thing about him, I wasn't going to talk about this, but Anna last night, we're laying in bed. And I'm reading, well, she's reading, and I was Facebooking, and I told her, I was showing her some, because they had a candlelight vigil for the man. And she asked me, like, how old is he? And I said, I don't know, let's find out, And so I found out he's 32 years old. The biggest thing that killed me the most was he left behind not only a wife, some parents, but he left a 1-year-old child and a 4-year-old child. They'll never know him. They'll see videos of him. They'll know about him. But they will never know him. And it just kills me. And that much, we just want to honor him a little bit and just say that, we highly love and respect the Blue Angels. And as a father, he was a role model. He grew up as a kid. He had his pilot's license at 17 years old.
Wow.
17. Wow. He ended up getting into the Navy, flew in Afghanistan. But he was the guy who went to these Blue Angel shows, who is just like a rock show. These guys are the head of the rock stars.
I've seen many of them.
And wanted to be there and got his autograph signed by a pilot, this and that. Well, he was the last guy. His parents said he was the guy at those shows, would be the first guy to come and the last guy to leave, to signing those autographs for kids, to give a role model, because those guys are the best of the best. And I just wanted to say God bless Captain Jeff Kuss and his family.
Absolutely.
And the Jim and Peter Show truly support the military. And we want to say congratulations to all you fathers out there who sacrifice everything to be with your children, regardless of your own lives, because they're going to grow up and then it's going to be too late to do some of that stuff for most, not for all, but because your kids will always possibly forgive you. Anything else, Jim?
Well, that's a heavy load. And, all the things I said about my dad, is negative, the way he handled certain things, but he was an amazing man. And we had Marines all the time. It was kind of like when you had a party after a show, and there's all these people but they're amazing people. The Marines, I can't salute them enough.
All the military, they all have a job.
Well,
to do.
because that's where I was.
I know, and me with the Navy, and the Air Force is right down the street in Pensacola. But it's all about the sacrifice for their families and what they do, and we appreciate it.
And it's there's nothing else you can say. It's just thank you so much, because that's amazing.
I got one thing that we're going to say right now.
Oh, God.
We're going to say thank you to all our fans for listening. A little bit heavy, but again, this is all about love and respect. This is why the Jim and Peter Show exists. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, like and share. Don't forget the YouTubes. Stay tuned next time. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Don't forget to talk to us back through Facebooks and YouTube. Subscribe on iTunes, too. It's free.
Wow. Yeah. He's a car salesman. Yeah. You can tell.
It's free. Yeah. What's it going to take to get you into this car?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. The day I get out of that freaking... Don't get me started.
No.
All right. I'm out of here. See you next week.
Okay.